Before we begin waxing the vehicle, you need to buy some product to help rejuvenate the paint. And before you do so, you want to determine what stage the paint is in on your car. And when I talk about stage, is the paint got some clear coat damage? Is it got some oxidation from sun or UV rays? Or is it just got some swirl marks from its weekly washings? Now what I'm going to do is Cameron's going to talk a little bit about how to determine what stage the paint is in, so that way it'll help you determine what kind of parts you need to buy to help rejuvenate the car's color.
Right, so all cars are going to see sun damage over time. If your car sits in the garage, it just won't happen as fast, but it's going to happen eventually. The most common thing you're going to see, especially if you're somewhere where there's a lot of sun, is going to be oxidation. And that's when you look at the roof, the hood, the real common places that the sun is going to hit all the time. When you start seeing kind of a white varnish to it, a white finish on it, or if it starts to look like a matte job or kind of cloudy and doesn't have that same vibrant color to it. When you have something like that, you need to start thinking about a product that's going to cut through that a little bit more. You'll hear sometimes car products talk about how they're an abrasive or they're mild, or you can use them with a cutting pad, things like that. The basic idea is that you want something that's a little more abrasive to get back through to the original paint before you start waxing it and polishing it and making it pretty. Automagic carries two things that we like quite a lot. One is BC1, and this one is a little more abrasive and works great for cutting through the oxidation, bringing back that nice finish. Finishing that off as a two-part is BC2. BC2 is a final finishing wax that's going to fix all those other little imperfections that are left after you cut through the oxidation, get through some of those swirl marks. Now lastly, if you have a car that has a paint job that still looks really good, or a brand new car, and you just need to maintain that, Easy Wax Paste is your answer. Also made by Automagic. This stuff is a good Carnauba wax. It's going to help protect it, especially after you spend all that hard work getting it back to a nice clean color, or if you have a car that's brand new and you want to keep it looking new. This is your answer.
Yeah. Now if you have any questions, or you feel like you don't want to move forward, or you want to get some more answers about your paint, feel free to consult with a local body shop or a detail specialist. They'll let you know what kind of products or what they like to use, if this is something you want to tackle yourself, or if it's not, you can always consult a local body shop or a detail center, and they'll go ahead and give you a quote for detailing it themselves.
For this particular car, it has a good amount of clear coat damage, so we're going to start with the BC1 product to cut through that. Now there's a few spots on here as well, if you look down here on the hood, where there's not a lot we're going to be able to do to fix without doing some actual paint work on it. This one has some clear coat peeling, and we're not going to be able to fix that with a wax, but we can still protect it and keep it from getting worse. So we're going to start, as I said, with the BC1. Chris and I are going to get going on it. We'll start from the top, on the roof, on the hood, all the stuff that's the most oxidized and sun damage, and then work our way down, just like when washing the car.
As you can see, Cameron and I are using the BC1 product with just common applicator pads, wax applicator pads. Now, if you're an experienced detailer or polishing person, you can actually use a buffing wheel. But just be careful if you can use a buffing wheel, because you can actually sometimes do more damage than not by cutting through the paint. So we're going to try the BC1 out and see what we can do to cut through some of this oxidation first by hand before we actually get to that level.
Another thing to take note of while you're working on this is any of the black plastic trim pieces around, like the roof rack here, anywhere around there. Now it's not impossible to fix, but if you get the wax on there, it's going to kind of stain it white and make it pale looking. It's okay if you're going to stain it later with a Forever Black product or a Back to Black, something like that. But to minimize the effort on that, try to keep the wax off the black trim as much as you can.
Helpful little tip, when you're actually waxing the hood, sometimes wax residue will get built up and actually clog your windshield washer squirters. So when you're done waxing them, if you do get some wax on it, you can sometimes take a paper clip and unbend it and poke it inside the squirter nozzle holes. That way it'll help get any wax that's dried up in there and have a clear passageway for your windshield washer squirter.
Alright, now that the wax is dried, we're just taking it off with some clean towels. You want to use a cotton towel, terry cloth towel for this after the wax is dry. So once the wax kind of gets a little bit of the crust over it, then what you want to do is just wipe it all off and get as much of the residue out as you can. Alright, now that we finished the BC1, we're moving on to the BC2. It already brought back a lot of the shine from the BC1, and this BC2 is going to be our second application on this thing to really bring out the shine and protect it and keep the paint looking good this way for a long time.
Now the second stage has been dried on the car. We're going to go back over it and wipe it off. This is the BC2, the polish, the finishing touch of the Automagic product. We just got done doing the whole vehicle. We're going to wipe it down and then do the final detail touches on it and call it a day on this thing.
Right now we finished with our wax job. We finished the BC1 and Chris is finishing buffing out the BC2, so our paint's looking nice and shiny and clean. One of the last things we want to do is shine up this black trim. A lot of Volvo models, like these 850s, like P2 Cross Countries, that have a lot of plastic trim on them. That plastic gets faded, starts looking real light gray and kind of whitish. We're going to use the same stuff. It's magic dressing that we use on the interior. Works fantastic on the outside trim too, and all the rubber seals. You can use this and it gives it a nice clean look. Another option that we'd mentioned previously is a product called Forever Black. Forever Black is more of a stain. So if you like that really nice jet black look, that nice dark look, or if yours are really, really faded, Forever Black's a great solution. It takes a little more worry and work for application because it's a little bit messy. It's a stain, it's a dye, but it works fantastic. So which one is right for you depends on your car and your taste.
Alrighty, well now that we're done waxing the vehicle and detailing all the bumper trim and the plastic black covers and stuff like that, we're going to go ahead and add one final touch to it, and that's detailing the tires. It's always nice to have a good set of side walls that make it nice and shiny, and definitely helps the appearance. So we'll go and use a magic dressing again by Auto Magic and just spritz your rag and apply it to the tires. Well, there you have it. Cameron and I just spent the better part of a few hours working on this car. We wanted to take this opportunity to show you that you don't have to have a perfect car to maintain it. When I mean maintain it, by taking care of the paint and the interior. So this car is, a 94. It's definitely not brand new and it's definitely not showroom condition, but it looks really good. And it looks like, a lot easier to maintain it once you've done this type of a cleaning on it. So we're excited that we were able to show you what the car looked like before and after versus the interior and the exterior. And we hope that it's hopefully give you some insight to work on your own vehicle or detailing your car.
Yeah, and as Chris said, these cars are never going to be perfect unless you want to put a lot of time and money into it. But spending a few hours doing a good deep clean and paint restoration and cleaning everything inside can make a huge difference in how much you enjoy the car and how much it's going to stay nice in the days to come. Doing this every once in a while is going to make cleaning it down the road every few weeks that much easier. Instead of having to scrub it every time, just have to give it a light wash and maintain that. And then every 2 or 3 years, go back and do your big deep clean again, and it'll keep it looking fresh and new for years to come.